Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 5th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board for the City of Newburgh. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Don Black. Travis Oakley.
Here.
Nathan Layton.
Here.
Dan Shout. Margie Don.
Here.
Marcus Simmons. Pat Daria.
Here.
Sonny Luzo.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First item on the agenda, item A, Weyerhaeuser Real Estate Development Company are requesting subdivision general plan approval for West New Bern, Phase 2, a proposed 140 lot planned unit development. This subdivision is located on a combined 41.10 acres in the R6 residential district. The site is located to the north of US Highway 70 and to the east of NC 43. Can we get a staff review?
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'll just go over some of this again. The applicant's Weyerhaeuser Real Estate Development Company, West New Bern Phase 2, R6, 10 acres, 140 lots. It's going to be almost 7,000 linear feet of proposed streets in the city of New Bern utilities. Got the staff map here, and we have an updated map supplied by Weyerhaeuser that show this is going to be the property here, this tract. The West New Bern Phase 2 went before the City of New Bern Departmental Review Committee on December 10, 2021. Staff has reviewed the proposed subdivision and finds that all technical and legal requirements for general subdivision plan approval have been satisfied according to the land use ordinance, and therefore staff recommends approval of general subdivision plan.
At this time, is anybody here representing Weyerhaeuser Real Estate Development that would like to talk to the board?
Sure.
All right.
You can up here.
Come on down.
Pull that out a little bit if you want, Scott.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Scott Anderson. I'm with ARC Consulting Group, and here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Weyerhaeuser. Appreciate the opportunity to present this plan to you. As Seth mentioned, this is 140 single-family residential lots, with the minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet, an average lot size of about 6,700 square feet. Proposing almost 7,000 linear feet of new roadways. The new roadways are 26-foot back-to-back in a 61-foot right-of-way with sidewalks on both sides of the street. So the layout will be very similar to what was constructed in Phase 1, just on the north side of Childs Drive, just up from this development. There is a 20-foot perimeter buffer that will be left along the north and the east of the property adjacent to the neighboring property. And as Seth mentioned, water, sanitary, sewer, and electric are all provided by the City of New Bern. And stormwater management is provided on this site to meet both the state and the City of New Bern's stormwater management requirements. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Are there any questions from the board?
So all of the items from the departmental review have been resolved. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Excellent.
Is the infrastructure already in, or that's part of this?
The infrastructure will be constructed as a part of this project.
It's there. But it's
Yeah,
not
no,
installed.
because he just said that you were going to supply water, and I just wasn't sure if that was already, infrastructure.
Yes, sir. The apartments are already all constructed. We've got all the utilities are already on site, as it were, so it'll be just extended over here to the new building.
So yeah, I think your question, Sonny, is who does the work?
Who's going to put in the
So the contractor, developer
Exactly.
completes the work, and then
Which is the norm.
inspected by the city,
Which is the
and then
norm, which is
ultimately
totally-
accepted by the
Yeah.
city, right, up to city standards.
Further questions or comments from the board?
Glad to see it happening.
At this time, is there anybody from the public who would like to come up and discuss this development? All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that for public comment. At this point, do I have someone who would like to make a motion to approve the Weyerhaeuser real estate developments, the 140 lots, planned unit developments, on item A?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the general subdivision plan for West New Bern Phase 2, 140 lot planned unit development as
I'll
presented.
second
All right, I have a motion and a second. Seth, can I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Travis Oakley,
Yes.
Brandon Layton,
Yes.
Margie Dunn,
Yes.
Pat Doherty,
Yes.
Sonny Luzo.
that. Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next item B. Weyerhaeuser NR Company, being represented by McKim Creed, are requesting general subdivision plan approval for Thales Academy at West New Bern. This section of the multi-phase development is located on approximately 8.86 acres in the C3 commercial district. The site is located to the north of US Highway 70. Can we get a staff brief on that?
Yes, sir. Continue on, this one lot, 205 feet of linear streets are proposed against City of New Bern utilities. This is going to be the spot here, we're going to go back to the same photo here, showing the site of Thales Academy. And the one lot subdivision. So this is on the existing Clark Road, and so there'll be an extension here for the future part of the project. The Thales Academy at West New Bern went before the DRC on February 25th, 2022. Staff has reviewed the proposed subdivision, finds all technical and legal requirements for general subdivision plan approval have been satisfied according to the City of New Bern land use ordinance, and for general subdivision plan approval, Thales Academy at West New Bern was recommended.
All
At
right.
the DRC, there weren't any comments on the actual
That
subdivision.
was going to be my question.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Remember when they first presented this way back several years ago? I asked who was going to build the school, now I know.
At this point in time, does anybody representing McKim Creed want to address the board?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Tara Murphy with McKim Creed. I am here on behalf of Weyerhaeuser. I'm the project manager. I'm joined by Cliff Parsons, attorney with Warden Smith, and Kelly Hawkins, who's also with McKim Creed as special coordinator. We continue to be excited about the West New Bern community, and common apartments are up and being leased, and D.R. Horton is doing their single-family homes, so I think that we're really gaining some momentum, and we certainly have appreciated all of staff's help to get us to this point as well. The piece for Thales is basically just carving out that 8-acre parcel from which the academy is going to, is in the process of developing their site-specific plan for the school. This request just carves out the property. We certainly would appreciate your continued support of the West New Bern development, and we are here to answer any questions you may have.
At what point do you think you would start construction?
I can, we're not representing the Thales Academy, but certainly I can direct you to the right people that could answer schedule questions or anything site-specific like that.
How many students do you think will be there?
Again,
Not sure.
I can speak for
Okay.
Weyerhaeuser to carve out this property, but any of the specifics associated with the
That's what I
school,
think, okay.
I can just, like I said, we can get you the contact
Right. Thank you.
information.
Well, Pat and myself in real estate, it's good to know.
It really will be a benefit to the whole community, for sure.
Terrific.
this time, any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. At this point, are there anybody from the public want to make comment on this proposed development? No? Okay. So for item B, looking to possibly hear a motion to approve the general subdivision plan approval for the Thales Academy at West New Bern.
So moved.
I'll second.
So, yeah, so I think this is a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen to approve, I think, so
Right.
we're making, is that correct, for subdivision plan?
For general plan approval?
Yeah, for, well, is it not for the subdivision? Just making sure that we know what we're approving, so is that?
It's just for the
approved?
subdivision.
Okay, all right, perfect, that lies with us then.
All right. At this point, I have a motion and a second. Seth, can I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. John Buckley,
Yes.
Raymond Layton,
Yes.
Margie Dunn,
Yes.
Pat Doherty,
Yes.
Sonia Luzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. Who did the second on that?
Mr. Lake?
Sonny.
Oh,
Well, I thought he did
Yeah.
first.
It was something.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Really kept us honest.
That's right. And keeps us straight here. All right. Let's move on to item C. Also, McKim Creed are requesting subdivision general plan approval for Chambray at Carolina Colors, a proposed 27-lot major subdivision. This development is located on a combined 21.06 acres in the R8 residential district. The site is located to the west of US Highway 70. Seth, can we get a staff brief?
Yes, sir. The existing zoning is R8, 21.06 acres, looking at 27 lots, a little over 3 acres of open space, a little over 1,000 feet of linear streets proposed, again, City of New Bern utilities. This is the south end of Colors, at least adjacent to 70. This is Bayberry. The extension of Bayberry will come right into this subdivision. Bayberry Park Drive right here. Chambray at Carolina Colors for the City of New Bern DRC on February 25th, 2022. Staff has reviewed the proposed subdivision, find all technical and legal requirements for general subdivision plan approval have been satisfied according to the City of New Bern land use plan, and therefore general subdivision plan approval. Chambray at Carolina Colors is recommended. The DRC comments for these were very, very minor.
Okay.
All been addressed.
And I was going to say all been addressed. All right.
Yes, sir.
This area is going to be fed with that new water main that's going in, right, eventually?
I don't know if that's, I mean, I think all of
I
this,
know, technically,
the whole end of town is
yeah,
going to be addressed by
As
that.
far as, it will be part of that.
That system, yes, sir.
Did you have any more news on what's going on with that water? With
Not
that
since
water?
last time. But, you know, and I did talk to Jordan, everything's on schedule, and they weren't concerned about any kind of a deficit.
Well, what does that mean? It sounds like political speak. On schedule, what's the schedule?
Well, I mean, it's my knowledge, the city's never had a problem with the water system, and there's not one now.
Well, that's because you don't live in Bayberry. You go speak to people who live there, and they tell you they can't take a shower.
They don't have-
whether
they don't
want
have
at the
the
same time. I'm just asking, and I know that part of the reason that that line is going to be built, but I'm just waiting to find out what's going on. You don't have any idea.
I don't have anything. From the last time I checked before the last meeting.
Seth, if possible, when you get time, and I know you've been checking on it, because I know we do ping you on that from time to time. If there's any updates, could you just let us know?
Sure, absolutely.
I appreciate that. Are there any more questions or concerns from the board? All right, at this point, the representatives from McKim Creed want to discuss this one?
I'll take it.
All right. Switching it up a little bit.
Yeah. Good evening, Board. I'm Kip Paragoy. I'm representing Overlook Holdings, who is the owner of this property. And this is one of our traditional larger lot subdivisions in the realm of today's development processes. The average lot in here will be over ½ an acre in size. And it's going to be a very heavily wooded site, or even because of the terrain of the property, we don't even require a stormwater pond. We're going to be able to drain the property and get stormwater with curb cuts. So it's going to be a very, very attractive area. And if you ever walk back in there, it's really nice. What you see is, this is Bayberry Phase 3 that D.R. Horton is in the process right now of clearing and developing. And once that happens, that will provide us access to build the road into Chambray. So that's kind of the schedule on that. We hope that happens sometime in this summer, that we'll have access to that piece of property to do the development work.
So that piece is on the back side of where the clear cut lands?
Yes. Yep. When you look at the clear cut now, all the wood behind it is that piece of property.
Why do they clear cut it?
It's what you have to do when you do small lot development on flat land. All the lots have to get contoured in order to get drainage to go to the street or to drainage outlets. And with 60-foot wide lots, leaving trees is hard to do. And I won't say that, it's impossible to do. And still create the drainage patterns and resources that you need to do. The original Bayberry was the same way. It was all
And I
that
was
way.
back there at the park with my grandchildren, and they were so upset. Why?
They're not the only ones that we've heard from.
No.
But everybody's enjoying the view of the water tower now.
Yeah.
Get the extra for that.
Is the only way in and out is going to Bayberry?
Yes, right now. Ultimately, there's another road that connects, that will loop around and tie into Spring Green Pass.
Okay.
So that will give an alternate means of ingress and egress out of that property.
With this lot configuration, or will be another phase?
No, this will be the end. This goes all the way to our property line on the far end of the property.
Then they'll come back around on my end.
Maybe.
No, so that Spring Green entrance will be part of this eventually?
Eventually, it'll loop around. There's another block of land in between what D.R. Horton is currently doing and this land up to the northeast, I would guess, that hasn't been developed yet. You know where Spring Green Pass dead ends now, and there's the mailbox kiosks.
Right.
That will be an extension. Spring Green Pass will continue on down there, take a left and tie into this. And the water tower connection that y'all are talking about will happen
What's that?
with the Bayberry.
Okay.
It's part of the Bayberry 3 process of connecting the water tower into the city system.
Okay.
That way. That will happen much faster.
So we are going to use that water tower. Good.
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there are folks that can't take a shower already in Bayberry?
If they're sprinkling their lawn, yep.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet. I apologize.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. At this time, are there any members of the public who would like to come up and speak on behalf of item C, which is the proposed general approval, what we just talked about? All right. Having none, at this time, I would like to see if there is a possible recommendation from the board to approve the general plan for Chambray at Carolina Colors, the 27-lot major subdivision.
Make a motion, accept it as written.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Seth, roll call?
Yes, sir. Travis Oakley,
Yes.
Raymond Layton,
Yes.
Margie Dunn,
Yes.
no?
Yes.
Yes. Pat Doherty,
Yes.
Cindy Luzo.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Moving on to item B on the agenda. This is a sides construction incorporated requesting subdivision final plan approval for Hutton Point, Phase 1 at Blue Water Rise. This is a planned unit development, a 57-lot residential planned unit of HUD. This section of the multi-phase development is located on a combined 41.15 acres in the R8 residential district. Can we get a staff brief on this one, Seth?
Yes, sir. Again, this is 57 lots on 9.10 acres, approximately 3,500 linear feet of proposed streets, City of Newburgh utilities. You see this is a section to be developed here. Copy of the subdivision map.
Seth, I'm sorry, before you go, can you go back to the first picture? Sorry.
This one?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Can I go on?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Planning and zoning board review the general plan for Hutton Point Phase 1 at Blue Water Rise, the plan unit development. Staff has reviewed the proposed final subdivision plan and finds that all technical and legal requirements for final subdivision plan approval have been satisfied. Therefore, final subdivision plan approval for Hutton Point Phase 1 at Blue Water Rise, the plan unit development, is recommended contingent upon the receipt of a performance bond accepted by the city attorney. We did receive the performance bond, and it is approved by Public Works.
And it's satisfactory to the city attorney's office.
Thank you. All right. Are there any questions from the board?
I thought last time we talked about this with the water rise, we weren't going to do anything else until that water was cleared up.
But could we go back and look at that? I do, what was that, about 2 meetings ago?
Yeah.
Yes, I guess the important thing here is that this is the final plan approval, so this is for a subdivision that we approved some time ago, and now the work has been complete. And so this is approval of the final plan, ready to be planted, and so they can sell property. And that's
That's
what.
a really good idea.
So,
And also, it's important to remember that the rules governing the planning and zoning board are very specific about what your authority is and where those meets and bounds include. And this body does not have the ability to declare a moratorium on development in any particular area in the city. That's outside of your purview. Tonight, before you, in determining whether you're going to approve or disapprove this final plat, you are tasked by law to set forth a deficiency wherein this final plan fails to meet the requirements of the land use ordinance. And that's a shall in our code ordinance. So unless you can determine how this particular plan fails to meet one of the requirements of the City of New Bern's land use ordinance, the ordinance says that you shall approve the final plan.
With that being said, is there anybody here from Sides Construction that would like to talk to the board?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Thomas with Thomas Engineering, as you know. And pretty straightforward subdivision. And I'll just offer to you, I'll answer any questions that y'all may have.
So John, last time you were here, we talked about water pressure, and you went back and checked, and there was something to do with a valve that was closed or something?
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate how that conversation occurred. And quite honestly, we didn't know there was a problem until I came to this meeting. So I got with the engineering department and also the fire department, and we looked at some of the flows that they were getting at different locations in the Blue Water subdivision, and it's pretty obvious where the problem was. And we pointed that out to them, and what they found is an abrupt change from one side of an intersection where there's a valve to the other. And we pointed to that valve. The valve must have been disturbed or something. And I said, you can count the turns on a valve when you open and close it to determine the size of the valve. And so I said, would you count the turns, because maybe, hopefully, the right size valve got put in. And he said, yeah, well, no, you know, we opened it and it stopped, and that was it. So they went back to that valve, and what happened, we put tracer wires on top of the pipe that goes up into the valve so that they can hook to it, send a signal to locate the water line. That wire had wrapped around the stem of that valve.
And stopped it from moving.
They thought they had the valve open when they only had it like 10 to 15% open. So once they got that corrected, then the flows and the hydrants returned to what the model showed, which was just under 1,000 gallons a minute, 900 some odd thousand gallons a minute, which is what we're getting out of most of the hydrants out there, except on the front end, we get a little over 1,000 gallons a minute. So that was that problem. So as far as we know, everything out there is okay right now with what we're developing. And the models show in what we're doing now with the last one we brought in and with this particular one, there's adequate fire flows out there for the time being. As far as the loop line coming in, I'm not talking to Jordan in a month or so on that. He keeps telling me the last time it was on schedule to have that line put in. And that'll up the flows, probably the worst case, probably 1,300 gallons a minute, you know, per hydrant, which our target is 1,000 if I could get on each hydrant. That's the short version of the long story.
Next version too. Thank you.
Sir, I appreciate you addressing that specific issue. Obviously, you remember from 2 meetings ago, we had a dialogue on that, yourself and the board, so I appreciate you addressing that. Are there any other questions from the board at this time? Thank you, sir. At this time, is there any member of the public who would like to talk about this proposed approval? All right, there are none. All right, at this time, I'd like to look for a motion to approve the final subdivision plan for Hutton Point, Phase 1 at Blue Water Rise.
I'll make a motion that we approve the final subdivision plan for Hutton Point, Phase 1, Blue Water Rise as presented.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Seth, can I get a roll call?
Travis Oakley,
Yes.
Eamon Lee,
Yes.
Margie Dunn,
Yeah.
Pat Doherty,
Yes.
Sonny Weezer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E, Quality Oil Company LLC has requested consideration of an application to rezone one parcel totaling 0.95 acres from C4 Neighborhood Business District to C3 Commercial District. The parcel is located south of US Highway 55 and to the east of South Glenview Road. The parcel is further identified as Craven County Parcel ID 8-240-100. Can we get a staff here, sir?
Yes, sir. Again, the applicant's Quality Oil Company, LLC, 1301 South Newburgh Road. Currently zoned C4, asking for C3. This parcel has been historically commercial, currently in office. Got a photograph of the property here. See the site here on Glenview Road. Existing zoning C4 neighborhood business districts established as a district in which principal use of land is to provide for the retailing of goods and services to the nearby residential neighborhood. Regulations of this district are designed to limit businesses which may be established therein in order to protect abutting residential areas. For C3, the The commercial district is established as a district for offices, personal services, and retailing of durable and convenience goods. Districts will generally be located on the city's major radial roads because these districts will be located on high volume traffic arteries and will be subject to review from not only local residents but tourists and other non-local motorists, ample free off-street parking, control traffic movement, and appropriate appearance, including suitable planting shall be provided. So currently, what's allowed in C3, single-family residential, multifamily residential, high-traffic retail, car washes, restaurants. Adjacent to this property to the north, we've got commercial C4 neighborhood business, the south commercial and residential C5 office and industrial district, R6 residential. East, we've got residential R6 and west commercial C4 neighborhood business. City of Newburgh utilities. 2010 CAMA land use, or regional land use plan, this area is classified as commercial. A mix of land uses are included in this designation. Residential densities range from the maximum of 1 to 5 dwelling units per acre. Higher densities are permitted within multifamily residential and planned unit developments and within some zoning overlay districts within commercial areas of Newburgh. The intensity permitted varies depending on the zoning district and overlay standards specific of the land use ordinance. Generally, this area is characterized by urban and higher intensity uses that require urban, municipal, and public services. Incompatible uses with this land classification are industrial and agricultural. According to the land use plan, the subject property has high suitability for development or known as environmental hazards. This area is not in the floodplain, considered minimal X or minimal flood risk. The proposal to rezone the subject property to C3 commercial district is consistent with the character of adjacent land uses and zoning classification. Staff has found the proposed rezoning to be in the public interest and consistent with land use and transportation plans. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning, requested rezoning. Go back to the map here. And I believe there's somebody from the representing the application here tonight.
All right. Do I have someone representing Quality Oil Company?
Yes.
So I'd like to approach the podium.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Dinsbury. I'm with Quality Oil Company. We currently operate Go Gas brands and quality marks here in the general vicinity of this area. We have a Go Gas and can't remember that, Morehead City. That opened last year, and then in Little Washington we have what is the Quality Plus brand that we use. So it is a retail fuel, but a little bit different. If you've not ever seen our stores, we don't have interior retail. It's not like a convenience store where you walk in, you park, or anything like that. Ours is based on speed. People can get their gas, go to a pay window if they want to buy approximately 5 to 10 products that you can hand through a window. It's geared for convenience and truly not getting behind people who are buying, lottery tickets and things like that. And so it's a little bit of a different concept, and one that's been really successful. We're a family business, been around since 1929, and we currently have around 140 stores, mostly in North Carolina, Eastern Virginia, or Southern Virginia, Eastern Tennessee, and South Carolina.
Good.
So it's a store you don't go inside?
You don't go inside.
But it's not like a drive.
It's a drive-through concept, and our main products are tobacco products and gasoline, and those are the two main products, and kind of an odd combination in this world to be selling those two products.
Obviously they sell well.
Fossil fuels, and what can go wrong with this?
Smoking you got it.
But we've been doing it for 93 years, and it is it's oddly enough it's extremely convenient. Some of our biggest clients are females, and who don't like to go in stores where they can buy cigarettes, or they're hiding that they're smoking from their husband or their girlfriend. We have a lot of guys doing that too, with the snuff and all of that. So it is an interesting business. It's very efficient. We do a lot of work with municipalities, overnight fueling for their emergency services trucks. In most of the counties, we love smaller communities. Winston is a smaller community, and that's where we're headquartered. We're a North Carolina company, and proud to be in this area and proud to try to get into Newburgh. We'd love to be here.
Thank you for your brief, sir. At this one time, is there anybody from the public who would like to address item E on the agenda? No? Okay. At this time, I'd like to hear a motion from the board.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend approval of the rezoning request for parcel ID 8-240-100 from C4 to C3.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item E. Seth, can we get a roll call?
So, Travis Oakley,
Yes.
Raymond Lake,
Yes.
Margie John,
Yes.
Pat Doherty,
Yes.
Sonny Luzo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Moving on to item F. Development Services are requesting consideration of 2 initial zoning designations for 2 parcels that underwent annexation to the city of Newburgh. Development Services are requesting an initial zoning designation of R8 Residential District for 3412 Old Airport Road and 3436 Old Airport Road.
Mr. Vice Chair, just to give the board an update, these 2 parcels were annexed to the city of New Bern in the last year, and when that annexation became effective, there was not a zoning classification assigned at that time. Since then, as you know, we've had some staffing changes, and staff just wants to make sure that all the interested persons have been contacted and input from the citizenry before we bring this matter to you all. So I think there's been a suggestion at this point that you all table this particular item until your May meeting. That way staff can just make sure that everything is buttoned up for your consideration at that time.
Thank you, ma'am. With that being said, from the city attorney, can we get a motion to table this until the May meeting to allow staff to review?
So do you have that date for that meeting, and we'll put that in the motion? Sorry. So I'll happily make a motion.
It appears that the date of the May meeting is May 3rd, 2022.
Okay. So I will make a motion that we table item 2F from this month's meeting. Consider that is identifying initial zoning designations for parcel 7-105-017 and parcel 7-105-020, and postpone that or table that to our May 3rd, 2022 meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second to table that to the May 3rd meeting for item F.
Travis Oakley,
Yes.
Raymond Lake,
Yes.
Margie John,
Yes.
Patrick Doherty,
Yes. Yes.
Sonny Luzo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. And last but not least, item G, 2022 land use plan update.
Yes, sir. Our acting planning director, Matt Shelley, is going to speak to that item for us.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Matt?
This will actually be quite quick because I have virtually no information about this at this point. You know, he was here in video form at the last meeting, correct? And you guys established the working group to work with them. I understand he hasn't contacted you at all.
No, sir.
When is it due again?
What's that?
When is it due?
It's due the end of June, but it has to come to you in May. Right.
Okay.
So he's got about 7 weeks left. It's got about 7 weeks left. So reviewing the contract didn't specifically address that kind of working group relationship, but did address follow-on stakeholder outreach based on individuals and groups identified during the kickoff meeting. However, the kickoff meeting was actually a different meeting than your meeting. So he may still be within his purview as it is. But we've been trying to get a hold of him and get him to talk to you. I've even specifically asked him to call Hinch out. So we'll see how that's working. So stay tuned, I guess, is the best I can say at the moment.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shelley.
Yes, thank you.
I won't hold my breath on that, but we'll see how that ends out. All right. Is there anything else from the board that we need to address tonight?
I just have one other item.
Yes,
I just wanted to throw in there additional. So changing course, just to let you know about the resiliency plan that you've all heard about. At some point we will be coming to you with a presentation to give you a better understanding of the plan. So I just look forward to being able to come, maybe not your next meeting, we might not be ready quite for that, but probably the following meeting after that second meeting.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Mr. Shelley.
Thank you.
So that means the subcommittee hasn't met at all?
I didn't feel bad about going to Tampa, because I didn't miss anything. All right, at this time, is there anything else from the board that we need to address tonight?
Not that I'm aware of.
Ma'am?
No, sir.
Seth?
No, sir.
All right.
I move that we go home.
Done.
Sounds real efficient.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Seth?
Calvin Sophie,
Yes.
Raymond Wade,
Yes.
Margie Jones,
Yes.
Pat Doherty,
Yes.
and Sonny Luzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. We're adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.